Wedding nightmares. The very first 2 marriage services I ever took as a curate were 90 minutes or perhaps 2 hours apart. However, the bride of the first one was over an hour late. She'd managed to lock herself out of her house or something. And I'm sure you can immediately think of other disasters with wedding cakes or wedding rings or wedding apparel, etc. Today's Gospel features another wedding nightmare. It does seem to be a bit unfair to have a wedding parable in a month at the start of lockdown when we can't have any marriage services at all. And anyway, we're not really familiar with bridesmaids ushering in the groom. What's all that about? And it all seems a bit unfair. So, what is the message for us of this text from Matthew chapter 25? The thing about the light given by the bridesmaids' lamps is likely a biblical illustration for the right way of living. A way of living that isn't pompously pious, but is about living humble, courageous, generous, faithful lives. A way of living our archbishops and the Bishop of London in their letter to the nation called calm, courageous and compassionate. The way of living recommended for this lockdown and beyond. It's about nurturing a life of justice and mercy and integrity. The wise bridesmaids didn't greedily stockpile, but simply had enough. They had what they needed. Why did they not share? Maybe because there are things you can't share. True, there is so much we can do for one another. And yes, we depend on each other, and this mutual interdependence makes us stronger. But no one can eat, sleep, or breathe for another. None of us can go on living on the spiritual capital of our forebears. The church, each of your churches, is here because people in their time responded. Here's Etheldreda, the founder of the monastery at Ely, on which our cathedral is built, quite literally. The response of our forebears in faith shaped the church and brought us to this point. Now it's for us to respond in our time, not for fear of being locked out, but because we need to drink from those same wells in order to flourish, in order to be fit to serve our communities today, our world. So we need to go where the fuel is, where the light is. The archbishops have issued a call to prayer every day during November at 6 p.m. And there are suggested prayers you can find straight away when you go to the Church of England homepage on the web. And there on that homepage you'll also find there's material for Advent and Christmas called Comfort and Joy, a theme to reflect the current COVID context. There's booklets, and resources will also be made available freely via audio, smart speaker, as well as in app and email formats, with accompanying prayer activities for children and families. So I wanted to make you aware of this now. However, let's not forget, this Sunday is Remembrance Sunday. It reminds us that generations before us have kept their lamps lit, and so many paid the ultimate sacrifice. Again, this Remembrance Sunday, in the middle of a pandemic and lockdown, the challenge is to us. Now it's our turn. How will we fuel that sense of community and collective values, that sense of responsibility for others, that every generation has to discover and embrace afresh for itself, to make sure the light does not go out when we most need it? As Rowan Williams remarked, it's not an accident that out of both the First and the Second World Wars came renewed and deepened commitment to justice and equality in our own society. People had discovered how profoundly they were bound to one another and how deeply the wounds of others wounded them. This mutuality, care, courage and compassion, that's at the heart of the gospel of Jesus Christ, which we hear from him and see lived in him. So may God give us the clarity and the strength to serve our community and our country and our world, just like this, as the best way of honouring those whose sacrifice we commemorate today. A Remembrance Sunday service will be live streamed from Ely Cathedral this Sunday at 10:30 and from many other churches around the diocese. Let us pray. Gracious God, God of peace, help us to lift our eyes above the torment of this broken world, and grant us the grace to pray for those who wish us harm. As we honour the past, may we put our faith in your future, for you are the source of life and hope, now and forever.